Why wasn't the Empire ever able to locate Obi-Wan and Yoda? It was one of the Emperor's top priorities to eliminate all Jedi from the galaxy, as he knew that the survival of even just a single Jedi Master could eventually lead to his downfall. He was also quite certain that Yoda was alive somewhere in the galaxy, since his body was never recovered after their duel on Coruscant. Yoda's survival posed a greater threat than anyone else for Sidious, as the Grand Master was one of the few Jedi whom he actually feared. Before Order 66, Palpatine did not believe that most Jedi could hold a candle to his power. But there were two particular Masters who he did hold a great deal of respect for. Those two, of course, being Master Yoda and Mace Windu. Uncoincidentally, those would be the two Jedi he would come to face during the Jedi Purge, and the only two he ever failed to defeat in lightsaber combat. So this threat posed by Yoda's survival was not to be taken lightly. In the case of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he did defeat Darth Vader in their duel on Mustafar, and while Palpatine did not see him as a formidable opponent for himself, he did recognize that Kenobi's existence was a major problem as well, and Vader's burning hatred for Obi-Wan made finding him a top priority. Yoda and Kenobi were so highly sought after by the Empire that they were both placed on the Empire's most wanted list. The majority of stormtroopers were trained to recognize their faces, so concealing their identity by blending in with society was next to impossible. Not to mention that both Jedi obviously had very strong connections to the Force, meaning Vader and Palpatine should be able to detect their presence. So with all of this in mind, the question still remains. Why, after all of these extensive efforts, couldn't the Empire ever find them? There are a few major reasons, and they're all relatively simple. Yoda went to Dagobah because he had previously been led there to commune with Qui-Gon Jinn. The cave on this planet that we see Luke enter in The Empire Strikes Back was strong in the dark side of the Force, which helped mask Yoda's presence. Not to mention the fact that Dagobah was an uncivilized planet that was yet to be explored. It was rich with plant and animal life, which made it nearly impossible for him to be singled out among all the life around him. Even probe droids that could be sent out looking specifically for him would have almost no chance at navigating that environment and differentiating Yoda from all of the other biodiversity. In Kenobi's case, the civilized areas of Tatooine were crawling with Imperial forces, but nobody out in the desert where he resided could survive out in those conditions. At least that was the assumption. On top of the fact that Yoda and Kenobi recognized all the pain and anger this planet held for Vader. They recognized that the trauma he experienced here would prevent Vader from ever coming back. He had no reason to return to this backwater desert world, and he would not risk coming back and being reminded of Anakin Skywalker, the young boy who he claims to have destroyed. In addition, both Jedi Masters concealed their presence in the Force to the best of their ability. They didn't close themselves off from the Force as Luke Skywalker did when he went into exile, because their motivations were different than his. They didn't go into hiding to end the Jedi, but rather to wait until the time was right for their return. Instead of going dormant, the two Jedi Masters actually continued to strengthen their connection with the Force, discovering the path to full immortality while successfully concealing their presence from their enemies. So it was for these reasons that the Empire was unsuccessful in their search for the Jedi. As time went on, the general assumption was that they had both perished, although Vader didn't necessarily buy that. Years had passed since either of them were last seen, so the threat of their return grew less concerning for the Emperor. Anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please share your thoughts on this in the comments section below, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.